Thanks to those joining me live and to those that be joining me on Archive D Style. Here I'm being joined by the one and the only to recap the weekend, and his name is Haplotype. What's going on, Haplotype?
Not much, man. Thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Man, like I'm chilling this weekend and Haplotype's like just bodying people like during the weekend. What's going on with that?
It's not my typical thing I like to do, but, sometimes someone comes along and it's like, when they say that there's a vegetarian and, they're against killing of animals, but then a chicken comes along and plucks itself and throws itself on the grill right in front of you, you
Right.
know, one of those deals. Someone was, just being really stupid about the whole, scandal with Dillian White and making light of a situation where, we had guys dying and stuff, around that same time. And, I just felt like it needed to be, someone needed to be made an example of, and the chicken just plucked itself and threw it on its grill right in front of me.
Holy
So
shit.
I just
Well,
did it. I went ahead and did it.
you had to do what you had to do, right? So,
Yes, sir.
all right. And again, you're tuning live to Weekend Recap with Haplotype. I see boxing conversations with Reggie Owens in the house. What's going on? Um, Check it out, man. Okay, a couple of things. First of all, make sure you throw a jab at that like button because that's
Salute to
number one.
Reggie Owens.
Absolutely. Make sure you throw a jab at that like button and make sure you go vote on the polls right now. Let me check these polls right now. Let me check this right away. We're already at 65 votes. We already hit the minimum. Look at that. Just like that. Kelly Pavlik at 8%. Glenn Johnson at 12%. Evander Holyfield at 49%. And Paul the Punisher Williams at 31%. Look at that. Who'd you vote for, Haplo?
I voted for Paul the Punisher, even though, because I don't want him to get eliminated. I really like Paul the Punisher. If there was no chance of elimination, let's say, I would vote for Holyfield. But I voted for the Punisher because I think Holyfield's definitely going to get in eventually.
The real deal Holyfield is more than likely going to get in. No doubt about that. Just to show everyone where to vote really quick. Check this out. I got a nice little cool trick now. Okay. Like I'm just pulling up all the stops. Okay. But let me just remove this really quick. Look at this. I'm still a little new to this. So excuse me, guys. Just for a second. All right. While I do this, Haplotype, what do you think of the fight with, Arreola and Kownacki?
Wow, it was a really entertaining fight. Not typical of the heavyweight division, if you ask me, anymore. I mean, you used to see fights like that in the heavyweight division years and years ago, but it had like that fight of the year type of quality where it was just like stand and deliver, fight in a phone booth, but with some really, quality guys that knew how to fight like that. I just found it really fun and entertaining, with all those punches they threw. I'm surprised they didn't give you cardiac arrest calling the fight, but it was fun. It was fun to watch. It sort of went along the lines I would expect it to. I mean, Arreola is always fun to watch, but he seems to lose in the bigger matches. And especially when someone puts it on the line and says, if I don't win, I'm going to retire.
Yeah.
Most times when they say that, they usually lose. Um, but I don't think he should. I think he can, have a few more paydays in fun, exciting fights like that. I just don't think he's ever going to make it to the top of the mountain, which is kind of a sad thing because I know he really wanted to be a champion one day, but it's just a tougher division now than when he came in, and I just don't think he'll make it, against any of the top guys.
Yeah. You think Arreola should call it a day? You think this is it for him?
Do I think that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't think so. No, I think he could have one or two more fights on this kind of a level. I don't think he's ever. What I'm saying is, I don't think he should. He's going to make it to the top of the mountain. Meaning, he's not going to become, a title holder.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Marcus Johnson in the house, and salute to everyone. What's going on, bro? What's going on? That's the Eliminator, man. Paul Williams on his 4th week. He has 3 more cracks at it, assuming he gets at least 10% the next 2 weeks. And, of course, almost eliminated right now is Cali Pavlik. He's hanging in there. Johnson looks like he's in good shape to advance, or not advance, but stay alive at least for next week. And but right now it's between Williams and Holyfield. It looks like Holyfield is the favorite to win right now. We already met the threshold, so someone will advance. So there you go.
I would urge people to vote for Williams just so he can get his before he gets eliminated. But I understand if people want to vote for Holyfield. I mean, he really is the number one guy on there, in my opinion.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think that goes without saying. He's the odds-on favorite, I guess you can say, right?
Yes, sir.
Kownacki, what would you like to see next for him? What's the next steps for him?
Well, I think he's a good fighter, but I think with his slow feet and short arms and fighting in that inside fighting style, he's not like an inside fighter with dynamic speed like a Mike Tyson or even like a Joe Frazier. He's just, kind of a plodding guy. He is good at rolling and countering, and he does have some skill on the inside. A lot of people tend to not count, inside fighting skills. He does have good inside fighting skills, but I just don't think he has the tools to really compete on the highest level, at least not from what I saw this weekend. So what I would like to see from him would be for him to fight some of the sort of like the middle level contenders, some of the guys who are, getting a little long in the tooth, like the Pulevs of the world, or maybe even cheating. What's his name? The Russian guy.
Povetkin?
Povetkin. Yeah, him. Those type of that type of level.
That could be a big fight, man. Poland versus Russia. That could make money over there.
Yeah, I'd like to see him step up to that kind of a level and see how he does there before they throw him in there with, a Wilder or a Fury or somebody that's just going to destroy him.
Right. Yeah. I think he should definitely. It is time to step up. I don't see him at all like beating a Wilder. Okay, I know there was some whispers of it. There was some whispers of him beating Wilder, but I don't know about that. I'll give him maybe 6 rounds with Wilder. You think he'll go to distance with Wilder at least?
No, I think he could get really, really hurt in a fight against Wilder, and I'll tell you why. Because the guy has a very good chin. You saw that against Arreola. I mean, Arreola was hitting him flush with shots that, would definitely knock me out. So, and he was just eating them, and he looked fine pretty much after the fight. He had, his eyes were swollen and stuff. I'm sure he doesn't look fine now, but that kind of punch resistance will actually hinder him against a guy like Wilder because he'll stay on his feet longer and take more of those big shots. And I could see him actually getting killed against Wilder, actually. I'd hate to predict that, but I could see him dying in there against Wilder because he'll be strong enough to take a few of those shots. So he'll take more of them,
Yeah, he would definitely take more of those shots, man. I agree. Well, what about Joe Joyce?
Not that high on Joe Joyce.
You think he beats him?
Yeah, that would be a good fight. You know, I could see that being good. Maybe that's a good level for him to step up to.
Yeah. Yeah, I personally wouldn't mind that, to be honest with you. You know what I mean?
Like a Dubois or a
Dubois,
Joyce
yeah.
or those kind of
Well,
guys.
I think Dubois beats him. You know what I mean?
I would guess Dubois would beat him too, but he's very tough. You can't count him out really. Against the very top level, I'd say yes. But anything below that, I think he'd be at least competitive.
Yeah, most definitely, man. And I want to remind everybody to make sure you throw a jab. Throw a jab at the like button. Share the video. That way everybody knows that we are live. I'm being joined live by the one, the only Haplotype0. He's the body snatcher this week. Okay. But now there was the undercard, man. I think the last time I checked, and I was this close to putting money on it, I was going to drop $20 on him. Pascal Brown. It was like a .888 or something like that.
Did you bet on it?
No.
Okay. Well, it would have been a good one to bet on if you thought Pascal was going to win.
I thought I had, but it turned out I didn't. So.
You didn't click it. You didn't make that final step. You didn't commit.
Didn't commit. I was reluctant. I couldn't pull the trigger. You know what I mean? I was reluctant, but I think it was insane to me that I didn't pull the trigger, man. But you know, like, how do you see it, man? Like, what do you think of that fight? And was there any voices in the back of your head saying, "Man, Pascal could win this fight"?
The only reason why I thought he might be able to pull it off was just because Marcus Brown reminds me a tad bit of Chad Dawson.
Right.
He's a southpaw. They're the same height. And, you know, Pascal was pretty effective against Dawson. So, you know, I thought there was a chance. I'm not a betting man, you know, typically speaking, unless I'm in Vegas and I'm just walking by the sports book or something. But, you know, yeah, I mean, I thought he could do it. Marcus Brown was riding pretty high, though. I mean, I think most people in general thought, you know, Marcus Brown would kill Pascal, you know?
Right.
He's 23. He was 23-0 with 16 knockouts. So now he's 23-1, of course. But yeah, he got beat up, man. He had moments, though. He had moments in there. I thought the first 3 rounds or so, he was being pretty effective. He caught Pascal with that nice check left hook and ran him into the corner. See, the thing with Pascal is he's so inaccurate and sloppy that, you know, it's hard to bet on him. So that's probably maybe why you shied away from it. But he crosses his feet like crazy, man. It's like he runs and throws punches like a cartoon character. And at first, Brown was exploiting that. I mean, with that first round, that check left hook, he ran him into the ring post, sort of like Ricky Hatton against Floyd Mayweather. And, you know, at that point, I was thinking, oh, God, this is not going to go well for Pascal. Yeah. But eventually, those angles figured themselves out, and Pascal started landing a big, you know, straight right down the pipe. And I thought he was getting beat up at the point where he knocked him down, where he knocked Marcus Brown down.
Yes.
That first time. And after that changed the fight. You know, it was a different fight from then on. You know, and I thought Brown definitely got up too fast, as the commentators said. You know, he jumped up and he was pretty hurt. His legs were very rubbery, so that's a mistake. You know, fighters need to learn to like take a couple breaths, stay down, and listen to the count, and then get up.
Yeah, really good observation, man, and especially like Boxing Conversation, Reggie Owen says, that's a great observation, Haplotype, about Brown resembling Dawson. And I thought about that a little bit, especially when I was thinking about betting that fight. And the other thing is, it even ended right the way the Dawson fight ended, kind of.
Yeah.
Southpaw orthodox. It's likely to happen. Some more likely anyway to happen.
Well, especially
and,
the way John Pascal
yeah.
rushes in head first, like with his head down and throwing punches like it's like a cartoon character is the only way I can describe it. I mean, he crosses his feet and he runs in with his arms flailing. He's gonna cause a headbutt.
Right.
That was a brutal cut too, man.
Yeah. No, it was. I mean,
Yeah.
it really was a pretty brutal, headbutt, man. Even like in the slow motion, you see how you could see the
You
skin.
just saw it open right up, dude.
Yeah.
Right in the worst possible spot, right under the eyebrow, and it was like the whole vagina opened up.
It was crazy. But speaking of, make sure you guys subscribe if you like the content and throw a jab at that like button. All right. Roland Rodriguez Franjes, can you do a political Patreon, please? I really enjoyed the comment. A lot of people have been asking about that. I got to fit it in my schedule because I work all day, then I do this, and boxing is my passion, what I want to concentrate on. I do want to talk politics. I have a lot to say. And so let me just, I know it's not boxing related to Haplotype, but if you give me a moment, is this
Sure.
not even, no, I swear to God, it's not in the notes, but this was not brought to you by Sharpie, but I want to make it, I am going to do a Patreon. It's already on the works. Okay. It's going to be called the Demagogue Report. Okay. And I have a lot to say. YouTube locked my live stream from Sunday morning. Okay. They say it apparently there was too many graphic pictures on there. I did not show anything graphic. I showed the same images CNN showed, where it was pictures of the shooter from surveillance cameras. I didn't show any dead bodies. I didn't show any blood. I didn't show any of that. But they locked my video. They said, we're not going to flag you, but we cannot allow the video to be shown. So anyway, that stream was getting a lot of traction. In a matter of 2 hours, it gained about 4,000 views. All right. It was starting to get a lot of traction, and apparently a lot of people flagged it. So I don't want to say any more than that, but yes, I am definitely going to
there were a lot of idiots on there too, saying dumb stuff.
Yeah, look, all I got to say is that there's people on the other side saying other things, and they're not flagging down their videos. Okay. And I'm not even saying there's a conspiracy there. What I am saying that YouTube is not taking the time to actually look at these things. They're just taking the word of a bunch of people because I didn't show anything gory. I didn't break any guidelines.
I know you didn't because I was there. You didn't show anything.
Okay, every single thing was sourced. I showed it. Every article I showed, every tweet. I gave credit to the person at first, not just whoever tweeted, the first person who tweeted out. So that's all I'll say. But I'm definitely going to do political. I'm going to get to that. It'll probably be till Saturday, though, when I'm finally off, or Friday, but I don't know yet. Okay, what's going on? What's going on to everybody? All right. What do you think about a rematch, and who do you put your money on, Haplotype, on a rematch? What, maybe not you know what I mean. Who do you pick to win that fight?
For which fight?
I'm sorry, Pascal Brown, a rematch. Apparently, Brown has a rematch clause. So, what do you think of that?
I think Pascal is. I would pick Pascal, is what I'm saying, because
the confidence,
he just the confidence. He's already done it once, and he tends to fight really well against southpaws for some reason. It's just a strange thing, The styles mesh well for him. It's like another Dawson, like I said earlier, and I think he'll go in with even more confidence and more explosiveness in the rematch.
Yeah.
And I think when a guy loses his zero, especially in a brutal way like that, and a very disappointing way, it can have a mental effect, a la Chad Dawson.
Yeah, man, I definitely agree with that. It's tough for me. I got to be honest. I think it's a tough fight to pick. I would slightly right now still favor Brown. But if I see odds anywhere near, okay, like this one, I'm going to bet on Pascal, right? That's why I took it back when I said, who do you put your money on? I guess it depends on the odds. But I definitely think Brown, but barely. I think Brown can do enough to win a rematch, but man, would Pascal still be a live dog in that fight? How do you see Brown, even if Brown gets past, because Pascal's already kind of up in age and stuff like that. Like Brown, even if he beats Pascal in the rematch, what you think he gets
I
eaten
mean,
alive?
Pascal has sort of put together a hell of a resume on the quiet tip.
Yeah.
You know, like if you look through his
True. Yeah.
his box rec, I mean, there's a lot of good names on there. I mean, you got Hopkins, you got a draw with him. He beat Dawson. He fought Kovalev. I mean, even though he lost. So, I mean, he's kind of a little bit of a mini legend right now in the light heavyweight division. He has taken a lot of wear and tear, but he looked good in this fight, and I would pick him to win for sure in the rematch.
Okay. But what do you think Brown, like, even if Brown beats Pascal, how do he go like against a guy like Bivol, a Kovalev, right? Like the guys on top there. How do you see him favoring against those guys? You think he's food?
As far as the champions go, I think right now Kovalev is definitely the most experienced, and he has a pretty darn good resume.
Right.
You know, compared to the other guys. I mean, you got guys who are like, what, 15-0, 16-0.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. And, you know, they look great. I mean, they have nice highlight reels, but, you know, Better Beeves 14-0. Vosdick is 17-0, and Bivol. Of those guys, I prefer Bivol of the three.
Well, you think Pascal is just a bad style for Brown?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. He's an awkward guy. I think Brown would probably lose at this point if let's say he didn't take the rematch and he went and fought one of these four guys. He'd probably lose at this point. If he can beat Pascal and get his confidence up and really work on his good attributes, like he is a good boxer, and these guys, these four guys are sort of more punchers, I would say, than boxers. He might be able to outskill one of them. Maybe I'd give him the best chance against Vosdick, although Vosdick is pretty big.
Yeah.
Vosdick or Better Beef. But I think those two guys are going to fight, aren't they?
I'm not too sure. I can't tell you.
I've heard rumblings of that.
AJ, the fact checker, he could check on that. But we'll see. Is AJ even in the chat? I don't have chat in front of me at the moment, but
I saw him in earlier. I think.
Yeah, we'll see if we can check on that. With that said, I want to make sure people know every Monday we can recap with Haplotype. And Tuesdays, Mexico Latino Tuesday. Tomorrow we'll have G Funk on, so make sure you guys tune in tomorrow, same time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Pacific. And then we'll have a Puncher's Chance hopefully next week with Ashley Knuckles on Tuesdays. Wednesdays, Calcast with Calix. Tune in for that. DStyleBoxing Live conversations with Reggie Owens on Thursday. Make sure you guys tune in for that. We'll be closing the polls on that day. All right?
Yeah, AJ 10's here. Salute to AJ.
Perfect. All right. And also every Sunday, subscribe to Ringside Reporter, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Sunday. Make sure you guys go ahead and check that out. All right. There's Pascal wins the rematch as G Funky 84. So you're not alone with that when it comes to that Haplotype.
I think he has his number.
Yep.
I actually think Brown would be better served not fighting Pascal again and moving on.
Yeah.
Pascal's going to be gone soon, like he needs to focus on, preparing himself for a different style, which is these sort of stiffer, more standard, but big punchers. He's got to get that punch resistance up because these guys can hit.
Boxing fan asked, had Brown ever shown signs of a weak chin before? Not that I
Not
can
that
recall.
not that I've seen, but I mean the guy, you know, he didn't have that many fights going into this. You know, he had he fought, what was it, Badu Jack,
Yeah.
and beat him. I think that was his biggest win as far as I can recall. So no is my answer. He hasn't shown
Okay.
signs of a weak chin.
And shout out to Kelly Enigma Sports and Entertainment, seeing what's going on. What's going on, Kelly? And the no fight schedule for Beterbiev. Look at that. The fact checker in the house. There you go. Okay. And of course, G-Funk saying what's good to Kelly Enigma. So something I want to touch on here, man. Something I really want to touch on here, Haplo, is I know we talked about this, but I feel like I want to touch on it at least one more time. Everyone's talking about, well, the story was, we didn't make this story, okay? Bunch of white people made this a story. Oh, he passed all the VADA tests, so therefore he's innocent. Now, first of all, I want to remind people, even if he's not, but even if he was cleared the PDs, it doesn't erase the bigger story, in my opinion. Okay? It doesn't erase the bigger story, right? But it still doesn't clear him of that. Now, I want to talk about the glove, but before we talk about the glove, what do you make of people saying he passed all the VADA test? It's a wrap. That's it. End of story. Well, what are your thoughts?
That's ridiculous because when the story broke, they already said he passed all the VADA tests. That's not the story. I mean, if you pass 10 tests and fail one, you still failed the test. And also, like, and the test he failed was with UCAD. Okay. So they're testing too. I didn't even realize that both agencies were doing testing, but hey, that's what he signed up for. And he got popped for a UCAD test with Deanna Ball, which
Right.
is, you know, it makes sense if you look at how he looked in the fight. He looked heavier. He had a lot of water weight around the midsection, but his muscles were big, and you know he had more endurance. So, you know, this whole issue of the VADA test and that article coming out of nowhere is just like a smokescreen from nowhere that, like, we already all knew that. But see, the problem is there's so many people in the world, and when a story goes out, you know, everybody hears it and has to react to it because they're not paying attention to every other thing that's happening. They're just paying attention to what's in their little news feed right at that moment. And this is what got me into this whole situation over the weekend where I had to ether somebody where I don't even do that normally. But like, I just couldn't take it anymore, dude. I couldn't take it, dude. Like, I couldn't listen to this garbage anymore. He failed a freaking drug test already. Okay. So, like,
Well, let me
don't
ask you
come at me and tell me that he passed some other test. Big deal. I pass tests all the time. If I fail one, that's what they're going to be talking about.
Right. Well, here's the thing. Okay. First, I just want to clarify before I lose it in the chat here. This is why I like this tool. So it's not completely official yet, but Beterbiev should be fighting. God, can you say that name?
Vosdik.
Yeah, Vosdik. I don't know how you get Vosdik out of that, but anyway.
Well, that's not the right spelling, but
okay.
It's Gvozdik, but you know, just say Vosdik, like V-A-Z Dick.
The day is not set yet, but we got a clarification on that. And also, really quick, yes, Marcus Brown has shown signs of weak chin against Lenin Castillo. So there you go.
Yeah, and Boxing Fan is saying that it's very concerning that he failed the UCAD test in June, and we didn't find out until after the fight. Damn right, dude. Damn right.
Yeah.
And let's just say the B sample comes back negative after like a month of waiting for it. Doesn't that seem shady? Because they take the A sample and the B sample at the same time anyway. So why don't they just test them both right off the bat? Like, why do they have this long, protracted, you know, series of events where we have to wait to hear about the B sample? Is that because, like, he can go give the B sample today so it can come out clean. Just because a B sample comes out negative doesn't mean the A sample didn't come out positive. What makes the negative B sample more important than the positive A sample? There's two different tests. Like, he still failed a test no matter what happens with the B sample.
I want to clarify something boxing fans said. The British Board of Control, okay, are the ones that decide what happens when UCAT finds somebody test positive. UCAT just does the test, guys. They don't make decisions based on, they don't have authority to stop a fight from happening. All right? So I just want to make that clarification. The BBB of C, they make the determination on what they do, and they have this crappy policy that allows a fight to still happen, and then years down the line, okay, that they'll decide apparently if the beat test is going to be put out or not. But that's a whole nother story, and there's Cali putting the name out there. I still think it's crazy. We need Americans to start dominating the division again, so I don't have problem pronouncing names. That's what has to happen. Okay, that's number one. Okay, because this shit's
you don't like the murderer's row.
Yeah, the murderer's row. Get the hell out of here. The white murderer's row. What happened? Check it out. We should call it the Eastern European murderer's row to be more accurate. Okay.
Of course.
We don't see anybody putting plant in murderer's rows, right?
I like the former Soviet murderer's row.
Former Soviet. There you go. All right. And by the way, you guys make sure you go subscribe to the Cal Enigma, man. Great channel. Check him out. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how they cleared him to fight. Okay. But again, UCAT does not make that determination. I just want to make sure that is clear.
They didn't clear him to fight. There's a loophole in the procedure that if you file a protest within a certain amount of time and they have a hearing, that you cannot be deemed to be dirty until they test the B sample. So they played the rules in their favor to make sure the fight went on and that everybody got paid. It wasn't that they cleared him to fight. Don't believe the okie doke of Eddie Hearn and his little twisty language that he uses, that they cleared him to fight. No, he was cleared to fight because of a loophole in the system that they have over there. If you file a protest, go to a hearing, they have to test the B sample, otherwise you're clean, according to their rules.
Absolutely. Now, before we move on with that, I want to remind everybody it's going to be a terrible week next week, starting August 9th. And by the way, Roy Jones Jr.'s Appreciation Week was a success, man. Great stuff, guys. And we already met the threshold for the poll, so we're going to have an eliminator do it advancing. So make sure you go vote on the damn polls, okay? Haplotype says he voted for Paul Williams. Go vote on the polls. Go to the committee page. Vote on the polls. Vote on the polls. Vote on the polls. Let's talk about the glove, man.
Yeah, and this is the thing with the whole PED thing, man. Yep. Like, it's all just to confuse people and keep them guessing. And you know, like, oh, is it UCAT? Is it the BBB of C? Is it the WBC? Did he fail this test, that test? What did he have in his system? That all keeps you guessing when we know for a fact the man went into the ring with gloves that were illegal. That is the A story, in my opinion. Yeah. Like, there's no doubt about it. He used gloves that he was not supposed to use. So.
Oh, but you know what, Haplotype? You know what? What? I got pulled over for speeding by the El Paso Police Department last October, okay?
Yeah.
But the sheriff's office didn't pull me over the whole month. So guess what? I wasn't speeding that day. All right? I wasn't speeding that time. That cop stopped me.
According to the sheriff's department, you were clean.
Dude, the whole week, sheriffs passed by. They never pulled me over. Ever. In a whole month. So how do you explain that?
I'd say, you know, according to this Dillian White situation, that you're clear, man.
Yeah, that clears me completely of all wrong.
I think it's more like they found you were high on crack,
Right.
but you were speeding, so that doesn't matter. It was just no, the B sample. We got to wait for the B sample on the crack test.
Yeah. That's right. Oh well, that's crazy, man. These dudes are crazy, bro. That's all I got to say about that, man. Now to the glove thing. The glove thing, I first found out when I came on live, and I hadn't even heard about it yet. And it was actually you that posted in the chat. And I
Yeah,
remember,
because they're trying to mute that and make people forget about it by talking about this other thing. That's why.
right, the glove thing. Let me tell you guys something. Is no joke. Don't be hypocrites. If you were on here, okay, and I know a lot of you British channels, I'm looking at you, okay, on here, and rightfully so, we're calling for the banning of Antonio Margarito, okay? You should be consistent on this. This dude, all right, went to that ring with illegal gloves. Okay? You can't just wear whatever gloves you want, right? Haplotype, why can't a boxer just wear whatever gloves he wants?
Well, it's so egregious, man. Before I get to that he wore a completely different brand of gloves. Like, he didn't even try to hide it, dude. If they were going to tamper with the gloves, why didn't they just tamper with the gloves that he already had approved?
Yeah.
He could have pulled a resto and maybe he would have gotten away with it. But you got the guy, I forget the guy's name, the head
How
of
did that even
Rival
happen,
Gloves.
though?
Well, I mean, they just said F you to the Rivas guys. And they were like, we're going to wear whatever the F we want. We are, the British guys. This is in our country. We're running the show here, and you're going to get in the ring and fight. Luckily, Rivas's camp filed an official protest before the fight. And the guy who was watching the whole glove situation for Rivas, God, I cannot remember his name for the life of me, but he's the head of Rival Gloves. Okay, that's a big glove company. I don't use their gloves, but you see them all the time in pro fights. Okay, so the head of that company was Rivas's glove guy, and he went to the glove meeting. Okay, and just so in case other people haven't heard this yet, they went to the glove meeting with two sets of Rival gloves. I'm sure they were all on the up and up, and they were so mean to these guys that because the wrong person carried the second set of gloves into the room,
Right.
they would only allow him to have one set of gloves that he could use for the fight. Fine. He wore the gloves that they determined were good. They were checked by the other team. They were weighed and all that stuff. But then, White had two pairs of gloves as well. I don't know what brand they were. I suspect they were Grant's because he wears Grant's sometimes. And then on the night of the fight, he came into the ring with a completely different brand of glove that had never been seen. They asked to see them. They wouldn't let them see them. They just said, get in the ring and fight. They filed an official protest, and that's what happened. Anything could have been going on with those gloves. Anything at all. And we wouldn't know.
Kalanima says Dylan White switched gloves right before the fight started, and the BBBCFC didn't allow Team Rivas to weigh or inspect the gloves. They told him, man, we're about to, the fight's about to start. The fight's about to start. We can't do it now. By golly gee. Oh, it's a type of glove. They didn't say that. It's the type of gloves he would wear. No big deal.
They could have been 8-ounce gloves, bro. That brand and
bro, they
style
could
of
have been
glove.
7-ounce gloves.
That brand and style of glove comes in an 8-ounce. So just out of the package, it could have been 8-ounce gloves. But they could have done anything. They could have cut the padding out of the glove, a la Resto. They could have put plaster of Paris in there. They could have done anything they
didn't
wanted.
Inspect the Rivas team. They didn't even get to check the wrapping. The wraps.
Well, I heard they got to check the wrap. They witnessed the wrapping of the hands. I heard that they did witness that. It was the gloves in particular that they did not get to see. And when they came in the room, the gloves were already on. And they
here's my thing. So they don't know what. Look, they got to see the gloves get wrapped, right? Or not the. I'm sorry,
the hands.
The hands get wrapped. They got to see the hands get wrapped, right? But so they left and then came back, and he already had the gloves on.
Right.
Okay, so we don't know what happened between all that.
No,
We still don't know they did something to the wraps.
No, we don't. I mean, they could have put something over the wraps. To tamper with gloves, normally it's the gloves that get tampered with. I mean, we all think of wraps because the most recent scandal like this was Margarito, and it was in the wraps. But normally, they mess around with the padding in the gloves, or they put foreign objects inside the glove. It's not normally the wraps; it's normally the gloves that
No,
get messed with.
I got you. I mean, I definitely concur with what you're saying, but I just find it interesting that all this, the way it all occurred, and how it occurred, and it's being overlooked, and you're seeing people like, oh, what's the big deal? Oh, so he wore other gloves.
Oh,
What
he fancied a change of color.
He fancied a change. He fancied a cheat. He fancied to be a damn cheater, because that's what he is. Right?
Yeah.
Damn cheat. The dude's a cheat. That's what he is. The dude's a cheater. He's a cheater for life, bro. Right? I'm tired of hearing about this guy, man. Like Dillian White.
Dude, I just want Wilder to just cancel
Illegal
everything else.
gloves, PEDs, and he still looked like shit. Okay?
Got knocked on his ass.
Why doesn't he fancy more boxing skills? Right? Why doesn't he fancy shutting his fucking pie hole? Right?
Why doesn't he fancy a better chin?
Yeah, well, why doesn't he fancy, just shutting the hell up and getting away from the damn sport? Right? Damn cheater, and that's what he is. Oh, but
It's
you can't say that, mate. You can't say that.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
Make sure you guys throw a jab. Throw a jab. Let's get it 20 likes. Throw a jab at that like button. Let me see if anybody has anything else to say before we move on. All right, guys, going to Skull. Let's see, Ramirez, the man who beat Shakur, make his debut on Saturday. I'll be talking about that either Tuesday or Wednesday. But Haplotype, do you have any thoughts about that? That's the guy that beat Shakur in I think it was a gold medal match.
So say it again. Who was it?
Rebesi Ramirez.
Nah, I got no thoughts on that.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be talking about that later on, guys. Another show. Dillian White didn't take his gloves off at the end of the fight either. I mean, fighters don't always do that, but a lot of times they do. But what a coincidence, right? That he didn't take off his gloves after.
Most of the time they do take the gloves off after the fight because they're uncomfortable. So, if someone's keeping them on, that's another sign of they don't want anyone to see what's going on.
Absolutely. And shout out to Diesel, by the way, in the chat. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Now, today, all right? Now, before we get to that, just a reminder, guys. Just a reminder that next week is going to be a terrible week. You're looking forward to that week, Haplotype?
I think it's going to be terrible in the best sense possible for El Terrible, Eric Morales.
That's right, man. That's right. It looks like Evander Holyfield more than likely, although Paul Williams, don't count him out. He's definitely in it still, if you want to still vote in the Eliminator Forum. But, make sure you guys do that. And the whole nine. Okay. So, with that said, make sure you go to youtube.com/DStyleBoxing/community. Scroll down, vote on the poll. There's the lineup. And Haplotype, today is August 5th. Now, nothing happened today in boxing, but in the history of boxing, this is being brought to you by Scrapbook Boxing Museum of Forgotten Fisticuffs. By the way, go subscribe to his channel. Well, what happened today in boxing history?
Well, quite a bit, actually. A lot of legends fought on this day in boxing history, August 5th. There were some big fighters and big matches. First of all, in 1895, a fighter named Tiger Flowers was born. Now, Tiger Flowers is someone who may not be familiar to people, but he is a legend. Most notably, probably in our times, for being the guy who ended the career of Harry Greb. Now, he fought Harry Greb 3 times. The first time was a disputed newspaper decision where I'd say a good majority of the newspapers had Greb beating Flowers. Now, keep in mind, Greb at the time was already, a little long in the tooth, and Flowers was sort of in his prime. But in the first fight, Greb wins a newspaper decision. The second fight was also a close fight with Flowers winning a split decision. However, a lot of people who saw that fight thought Greb still won. And the third fight, which was the rubber match, I believe was the one that happened on this day in boxing history. And that one was Flowers clearly winning, although he still got a split decision. But Tiger Flowers, a great guy. Definitely do some research on him. If you like boxing history, you'll love researching Tiger Flowers. Also, in 1931, on this day, August 5th, in boxing history, Maxie Rosenblum versus Jimmy Slattery was a great fight. And Slattery had beaten Maxie Rosenblum for his title. Maxie Rosenblum, most recently being named Boxing Librarian's most underrated fighter of all time. But Slattery beats Rosenblum in the first fight. Excuse me. And then Slattery loses the title, and then he gets the title back. Then he fights Rosenblum again. He loses to Rosenblum, so Rosenblum gets the title back. And then in the third fight, the rubber match, which happened on this day, Rosenblum wins again, all decisions. Okay? So then you have in 1957, on August 5th, in this day in boxing history, Gianfranco Rossi was born. Gianfranco Rossi was a super lightweight or junior welterweight fighter, Italian guy, and he was a light middleweight, so 154. He won a title at that weight. He was born on this day. In 1961, Gene Fulmer wins a decision against Florentino Fernandez, which was his first fight after beating Sugar Ray Robinson definitively. Finally, I believe Robinson, this was also a rubber match, so maybe August 5th is rubber match day. Gene Fulmer, well, that's Sugar Ray Robinson. This fight that I'm talking about was not a rubber match, so correction. Gene Fulmer beats Florentino Fernandez. Now, Florentino Fernandez was a very hard-punching knockout artist, a Cuban, and he was known for his big left hook. He was an inverted southpaw. So he fought Gene Fulmer after Gene Fulmer beats Robinson, and he really took him to hell and back. I mean, this was an excellent fight. For anyone who's interested in boxing history, I would certainly suggest looking this one up. Now, Fulmer opened up a lead in the opening rounds, and then later on in the fight, Fernandez just started beating him from pillar to post, but he couldn't get him out of there, and he couldn't overcome that early lead that Fulmer opened up. In 1962, Calvin Grove was born. Now, Calvin Grove was sort of, I believe he was a featherweight champion at one point, sort of, one of those guys that fought a lot of guys, in the 80s and 90s. So, he fought Costa Zoo, he fought Gotti, he fought Angel Manfredi, Azuma Nelson, Jorge Paez a bunch of times. He was a good little fighter, but not a superstar, but let's recognize him as well. In 1971, on this day, Yuri Boy Campos was born. Now, Yuri Boy Campos was also quite a good fighter. He amassed a record in his career of 107 wins, 17 losses, and 3 draws, 82 KOs. Kind of a quintessential, contender around, but he did win titles and beat some pretty good guys, but most notably lost to some really superstar type guys like I believe De La Hoya beat him and other guys like that. Now moving on, there's so much today. In 1978, on August 5th, Hugo Coro wins a 15-round decision in Buenos Aires to retain the world middleweight title. In 1990, on August 5th, Vinny Pazienza wins against Greg Haugen. 1995, Channa Papoyan KOs Ernesto Rubilar in Bangkok, retains the WBA strawweight title. 1996, on August 5th, Mark Too Sharp Johnson KOs Raul Juarez in Inglewood, retains the IBF title. In 2000, Zab Judah KOs Teron Millette, Eukinsville, Connecticut, retains the IBF super lightweight title. And also in the same year, 2000, Juan Lascano wins over Jesse James Leja in 10 rounds. And also in the same year, Bones Adams KOs Andre Fernandez to retain the WBA bantamweight title. And the same year, Eric Morel wins in 12 rounds against Soren Pichal Perenchanek in Madison, Wisconsin to win the WBA flyweight title. In 2006, Vernon Forrest beats Ike Quartey in 10 rounds. Unanimous decision. Great fight. Definitely look that one up. Vernon Forrest versus Ike Quartey. 2 amazing fighters. And also in 2006, Kasim Uma wins in 10 rounds against Seshu Powell. And in the same year, 2006, Edwin Valero KOs Vicente Mosquera in Panama City, Panama, to win the WBA super featherweight title, which was his first world title that Edwin Valero won. Very interesting fighter and very controversial guy. And also in 2006, Juan Manuel Marquez KOs Terzdak Yanadeng in Lake Tahoe. Rafael Marquez KOs Silence Mabuza. And Koki Kameda wins in 12 rounds against Juan Landeta in Yokohama, Japan, and wins the WBA junior flyweight title. And that is this day in boxing history from your boy, Haplotype0. Hello? D-Style, you there?
Oh, shit. Okay. I was muted. I apologize. Can you hear me?
Okay. I thought
Right.
I just said all that for no reason.
No, I'm here.
Did everyone hear that?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, you were live.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
Cool.
So I just want to go ahead and I had asked who was the name. There you go. Russ Anber, the CEO of Rival Boxing. There you go. Right.
Perfect. Yes, that's who it is.
We're gonna have this now from now on. AJ Fact. Look at this. I come make it do this. Look, check it out. See that?
Nice. I just got really scared that I just said all that for no
Oh,
reason.
nah, you're here. We're live. We're live. We can recap with Haplotype. Make sure you throw a jab. Throw a jab at that like button. Check it out, man. Edwin Valero, man. Now we all know what he did. There's no excusing what he did, but man, did I want to see more of him in the ring. You know, like a lot left to be desired, man. How do you think he would have fared against like Pacquiao?
That's a tough call. Pacquiao tended, especially at the time when Valero was alive, Pacquiao tended to do well against guys he had a size advantage against. And I
Right.
think he would have had kind of a size advantage against Valero. And Pacquiao still sort of had the killer instinct that he's lost more so in later years when he got more and more religious and became born again.
Right.
So it would have been a really good fight, man. It's one that I really wish we had gotten to see. And in general, I wish we had gotten to see Valero, continue on because, he had a spectacular, say what you want to say about him as a person. He was a dick and did some crazy, stupid things. Right. But he, as a boxer, he was an incredible sight to be seen. I mean, the guy had 100% KO ratio. How often do you see that?
Yeah. I mean, this guy was. I remember he was going to fight DeMarco. Remember that? And a lot of people were like, I don't know. It's I don't know if he could outbox DeMarco. He's going to have to outbrawl him. And then he went out there and outboxed him. You know what I mean? And I think that day people kind of knew like this guy was for real. And he was cut with an elbow, by the way. The dude half his face was bleeding from an elbow.
I think the thing about Valero was he had that machismo that you want to see in a boxer.
Right.
I mean, not every boxer has to have that, but he was like the epitome of that. Like, he wasn't going to lose. He wasn't going to – it doesn't matter. You'd have to, like, shoot him with the cannon, for him to lose a fight. So he was definitely a sight to be seen. Anyone who doesn't know Valero should definitely go check out his fights.
Yeah. It was exciting to watch, man. I'll never forget when he got that tattoo on his chest with the Venezuelan president and shit. Like, this dude is like all in. Like, he didn't hide anything.
Yeah, he was very nationalistic.
Yeah, it was very nationalistic, to say the least. Shout out to Thomas Morton in the chat. What's going on, guys? And, of course, we got Clifton Bronson, Salute, D-Style, Haplo, and Chad, he says.
Thanks, Clifton.
Okay, I want to remind you guys to make sure you go vote on the polls. Go to my community page and vote, man. We've got 4 great fighters. Go check it out. Vote on that poll. That's the show, man. We kind of ran through everything, Haplotype. Did you have anything, any final thoughts?
No, I think we covered it pretty much, man. It's always a pleasure to be on. And, I enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow, by the way. Make sure you throw a jab at that like button. Okay, don't forget to throw that jab. All right. AJ10 says Valero Pacquiao would be a war. It absolutely would have. All right. And we look at the schedule just one more time. Okay. We're on deck for tomorrow, Mexican Latino Tuesday with G-Funk. Make sure you tune in tomorrow, same time, right? There's the link. Scroll down, vote on the polls. The deadline is Thursday, okay? So make sure you guys check that out, right? There you go, and that's G-Funk right there. In case you guys want to subscribe to the channel, G-Funky84.
Yeah, subscribe to G-Funky.
Absolutely. This is DStyleBoxing and for Haplotype, right? Let me just get rid of this thing here. Still getting used to all this. This is DStyleBoxing. And what do we say, Haplotype?
Keep it boxing.
Keep it boxing. We're out. Peace.